All right, so this one will be to make a curved leg. Let's look at least 3 different ways to do this. We can get ourselves a cylinder. We can rotate it. So hold down the letter J, rotate it 90 degrees. And then one thing we can do is we can just press R to scale, and we can kind of scale this. And depending on how deep you want the well, how curved you want it to be, right? We can just control it like this. So super curved, not so curved. And then what we can do is just go to faces, select that face, hold down shift, double click this face, and this. And we can do the inverse selection. So we can go to select, inverse, select everything else that we don't want, delete it. And then we could take this and then do a control E for extrude, and then extrude it out, and then maybe use this, as our leg. And then of course we can, like, if we need to, we can delete, like, let's say that. And then I can go to my edges, double click, flatten this edge, remove it, or do whatever like that, right? Let's see.
Wait, how did you flatten that edge?
Okay, so if there's something like this, well, let me raise it above the grid. Something like this, I can go to vertex, and I can select all these, or I can go to edges and select them all. Because remember, they're all like the same, vertex and edges. You just need to have one of the selections, and you press R for scale, right? And then sometimes the scale button's on the top, but this time it's on the bottom, and you just scale down. Same thing will work if I wanted to go to this way to make it on that axis, or this way over here if I wanted to. It basically scales it till it can go to 0. You can scale it till it makes it wider, or you can scale it to flatten it.
Okay.
All right. So that'd be one way, and then of course you can always take these faces, that you want. You can either take the face you want, click, double click, and get that, and then you can do this select inverse, or you can just like delete, what you don't want all by yourself, and then just like delete that. And then you have this piece right here that's curved, and you see if you just use the scale, we can make it less curved or more curved. And then from that point, control Z, control E, and go to thickness. And then peep this, right? If your leg has a taper or something, we can just take all of these and then just scale it. It looks, you scale, no, wait, let's scale out, deselect. I'll press 4 so I can see through it. Scale out, deselect. Scale out, deselect. Scale out, deselect. Scale out, deselect. Scale out. And then do a 5 and then look. So there, we could do it that way. You could do something similar, I guess, with the Taurus, go E, J, do 90 degrees. I guess it really just depends on how extreme you want it. And so I'm taking a Taurus now, same thing. And I'll kind of control the bend like this. And then, of course, once you get it to where you want it, here's some thickness. Or, you can also do this with the extrude. You can select the object, you can do control E for extrude, and instead of using this control, you can just press W and then just move it like that. So it's that way. And then there's our third way, which is lattice box, right? So that's getting a cube, artist scale. And then what I can do is I can give it some segments. So let's just do 5. Okay, right. So this is a pretty cool shape. I don't know. There's a lot of feedback. I don't know. Is that you, Jada?
No.
Oh, okay. Hey, Lawrence.
Sorry, so I missed my.
That's all good. I know where you're at. Yeah, it was just like, feedback. All right. So we can also do something called a lattice, which is called the form. And then I go over here to lattice and I click on this. And what it does is it makes a cage over this object. We can't really see it right now. We're going to see it. Now, if I go to this right here, this isn't the cube. This is the lattice. So this is the cube. This is the lattice. So the lattice is like a cage around our object. And what I'm doing now is I'm adding some divisions. Well, you can add divisions or not add divisions. Let's say I have this right here, right? I'm gonna make this 6, right? And this is what you do. You can right click and go to something called Lattice Point. And what it does is this is the cage around the object, and I can take it and I can, no wait, did it do it? Let's click on lattice. Yeah, Lattice Point. Oh, I think it's because it's a cube, it's hard to understand this. So let me just go do it with the sphere instead. All right. So if I have this and I go to UV, I mean, not UV, deform and lattice, now, okay, now we can see it. So it doesn't really do the same thing with the cage. So what it has is these, this box right here has these points. And what I can do is if I right click and I go to lattice point, and let's say I take these points right here and move them, look what they do. They kind of warp the object.
Mm.
If I press 4 so we can see it, this is the original shape, but this right here, basically, it takes a whole bunch of vertices and kind of, it's like a threshold almost, or it basically just moves them along this grid. So we don't have to like move each individual vertice. And so we can get like these like kind of deforming shapes. So like, let's say if I had to, I could push these right here, kind of make these go up. So you can kind of manipulate it in ways that are a lot easier to do with this lattice cage than some other things. I mean, than actually manipulating the geometry. Because it also does it in a soft way. So it's like softer. And they'll actually do like animations with this too. And then you could even like move the whole thing. So, I mean, it doesn't look that cool, but yeah, so that's basically what the lattice does. So I guess I was gonna say is we could take this one, right click lattice. No, wait, is this one? No, it's this one. Right click lattice point. Maybe select these and push it in. Yeah, that's not looking too. The effect isn't really like there just because it's cage. So yeah, I would try to do it. Well, yeah, we have that. And then also you can, here's a third way actually. So we'll go here, just add this, and then we'll just kind of do it manually, which would mean going to get some vertexes, and then we could like push it in and then deselect, push it in, deselect, deselect, push it in, deselect, deselect, push it in, deselect. Yeah, see? And then we could
Mhm.
get that shape from what I call like, whittling. Kind of like cutting wood. And we could push this in. Sorry. So let's say we have a shape like this. We could say, ah, man. And certain parts of it are a little bit rough. So I could double click right here and do shift right click and then do a delete edge. Double click right here, shift right click, delete edge. And what that'll do is that'll kind of like improve the flow a little bit with those janky edges, or I could like try to adjust them myself. And so the other thing we can do is we can press 3 to make it, wait, 5. We can press 3 to make it smooth, right? And we can see what's happening, right? It's kind of like relaxing.
Mhm.
But if I go to select all of these and I do shift right click, bevel edge, now I press 3 because I beveled that edge to give it that extra edge loop. It's holding that shape a bit more. So then I can take something like this and do a shift right click and do a smooth. Now this is when you're like done with the object. Press Q to quit. Now if I click on this and I press 1 and 3, it's like the difference isn't that large.
Ah,
Yeah. But remember, if the shape is weird or it's kind of got a curve that you like, but you don't like the whole thing, we can always select the face, shift, double click. Oh no, let me just duplicate this. And oftentimes, sometimes I'll do this too. I'll take this. Well, I started doing this recently. I'll take a piece and I'll bring it below the grid and I'll control D, because sometimes you can go past a point of no return, modeling and stuff, and it's hard to go backwards. So I'll take this right here. I'll do my inverse thing. Delete it. And now I can take this right here and kind of like control E, this W, and kind of, make that shape out of there. So sometimes you can do a whole bunch of stuff to one shape just to delete 90% of it, just to do something like this. So those are the few ways I would, yeah, suggest
okay.
coming up with that.